Hello, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is the day that we talk tech and English here with the Tech Divas on Biz Chicks. Guys, sit back, relax. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be in English. You'll be able to understand where we're coming from. If not, let us know in the chat and we will break it down for you because we do not believe in convoluted crap. That's a Biz Chicks thing. We want you to understand everything that we're talking about. I'm here with my friend and co-host, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Carolina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. Hey, Fran, are we in Clubhouse this morning?
Yes, we are in Clubhouse this morning,
hey,
and we got some friends.
Shout out
we have
to
Dr. Tachi over there, and we have Morari and Hank.
All right,
Hank,
guys.
how are you doing? Yeah, we are in the Clubhouse. We are talking tech today.
Well, I tell you, that Dr. Tachi is one of the workingest women I know. She is on that Clubhouse thing. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm good, and I have a shoot today, so I'm like prepping for the shoot, which is why.
See what I mean? She is just on it.
No,
Guys,
no problem. We got you.
And broadcasting.
And we're covering.
This is the lady you want to talk to.
Yeah,
we just love Dr. Tachi, and I saw you celebrating your, what do you call it? Receiving your doctorate 16 years ago. Time flies when you're having a good time.
Oh my gosh, it really does. And I only was reminded because somebody said something about doctor. I said, oh, today's the anniversary of that. So yeah, so thank you.
Yes, and a shout out to all the parents who helped make that happen. Oh yes. My goodness. Yes. Good morning, Jerry. We're going to get this party started. What do you have for us today, Fran?
All right. So this day in tech history, I'm gonna start with, there's a lot of Apple stuff on here. But I'm gonna start with an antitrust suit that was filed against Microsoft May 18th, 1998. The United States Justice Department and the Attorney Generals of 20 states plus the District of Columbia filed an antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft. Mm-hmm. The case focuses on Microsoft's integration of the Internet Explorer web browser into its Windows 98 operating system. The trial becomes one of the most famous events in tech history, eventually resulting in a settlement between the DOJ and Microsoft. In fact, the sanctions levied against Microsoft only recently ended in May of 2011, almost exactly 13 years after the suit was filed.
Okay, so is this why they have now gone back to the Wahala? See, this is why I said that the federal government is not serious about tech or knowing about tech, because all these things keep happening. Nobody is ever punished for things, whether it's antitrust, and that's because the people on the Hill don't understand tech. So, okay, sorry, continue.
May 19th, 1980, at the National Computer Conference in Anaheim, California, Apple Computer introduces the Apple III. It's the company's first attempt at a business computer, its first departure from Apple II architecture, and it will also become Apple's first real failure. Apple expects the Apple III to be released in July, but in one of the worst cases of delay in tech history, the system wouldn't reach stores until January. Once released, the Apple III would be plagued by component failures that would ultimately lead to large recalls. The Apple III never recovered from its original negative reception and was discontinued by Apple in 1984. Okay, May 19th, 2001, Apple Computer opens the first 2 locations of their new retail stores in McLean, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. Okay, I'm going to do a sidetrack. See, they had tech in the city, Tachi, in D.C., but apparently that didn't help.
It never helps because they don't believe in it. And, they've never been, the federal government has never been Apple. They have always always been PC.
Right.
So
Because it's the lowest bid.
yeah, exactly. We already talked about this. They go with the lowest bid. And this is why things get hacked all the time. Not that apples are not hackable, but because it's such a closed ecosystem, big hack is less likely to happen.
Right.
So I'll be quiet.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so in the first weekend of the opening, the stores will attract 7,700 shoppers and will sell a combined $599,000 of merchandise. While ridiculed by many technology experts at the time, the Apple stores have been insanely successful and was one of the key reasons for Apple's resurgence in the 2000s.
Okay, I want to say this. You said something about Apple trying to break into the business sector
Mm-hmm.
and it being unsuccessful. People, do you?
Right, but
And
they are now,
eventually, if it is to be, it will be. But do you?
okay. And they could have made it in the business sector back then, but I
Yes.
don't think the business sector was ready for
Was
them.
ready.
It's still the same. Okay.
Many times we are too early and people are not ready. But if we stay the course, people will figure it out.
Okay. Well, I got a few more stories here, so let me get a roll on. May 19th, 2006, Apple opens their second store in New York, a 20,000 square foot shop at the underground concourse of the General Motors building at 767 Fifth Avenue. Open 24 hours a day, the shop is visible at street level through a 32-foot glass cube designed by Apple's CEO Steve Jobs at a cost of $9 million. People stood online for hours prior to the store's opening. Okay. May 20th, 1927. I did say 27. The first solo flight across the Atlantic. Aboard the Spirit of St. Louis monoplane, Charles Lindbergh takes off from Roosevelt Field in New York on his historic first solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean. He will arrive in France 33.5 hours later. Okay, so there was no landing in between between New York and France, right?
Correct.
Okay, so there was no bathroom breaks for 33. I mean, it just dawned on me, in order for him to do that, I'm sure he had something set up.
He needed to eat. He needed some water.
Right. He had something, and then that's 33 hours. That's like Australia. That's like one of them world now, when the long flights across, that's a lot of time for 33.5 hours.
Think about it, 33.5 hours just driving a car, just trying to pay attention.
Well, here's the other thing is he had to have fuel for that amount of time too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That was no small feat back in 1927. Wow.
No GPS.
Well, they had GPS, but it wasn't like what we have now.
Exactly, it wasn't mapped to the max.
They also were a lot better at understanding and reading maps because that's what you had, so you couldn't rely on them.
Oh, you mean they read the instructions too? Okay.
They actually navigated for themselves.
Well, they paid attention. You know what I mean? Because they all of the little everything that they needed, the protractors and all that stuff, they paid attention. They were more diligent and not lazy about that stuff, or else we wouldn't be reading about him making it all the way over there.
Mm.
May 20th, 1932, 5 years to the day after Charles Lindbergh took off on his historic flight across the Atlantic, Amelia Earhart takes off from Newfoundland. While her original destination was France, weather and mechanical problems forced her to land in Ireland nearly 15 hours after she took off. She became the first woman and second person to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Well, they weren't prejudiced against women doing these things either. I'm sure she ran into some problems, but that was major.
It was. I'm sorry. I just wanted to add. I think also the fact that if we look at it, you know how there were men trying to do these things, and were probably major sponsors behind it. But it would be interesting to know the whole history of how this was funded, because I don't know, but how it was funded, who funded it, etc.
Right.
Being that she was a woman.
Right. And she's standing out here dressed in a skirt and a jacket and heels. I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, okay. I'm thinking that picture was just for photo op. Right. But the point is she still had 15 hours in a plane. And they had to make some adjustments, fuel to make that long trip. That wasn't an easy thing.
Exactly. And especially when you're a woman, there are some biological things that you have to think about.
Right.
So, take care of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. May 21st, 1952, the IBM 701 was the company's first commercial scientific computer, but I guess they figured that calling it a calculator would help it sell better. This is the author who told that joke. Perhaps they were right, because only expecting to sell 5, the company ended up selling 19 to government, large companies, and universities. It was the company's commercial scientific computer, and they called it a calculator. IBM announces the Defense Calculator Model 701, and it took up a room too. And my final story, May 21st, this was going to interest you, Dr. Tachi, 1980, the sequel to the smash success Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, is released on this day, almost exactly 3 years after the release of the original film. The pioneering use of special effects technology in the Star Wars trilogy transformed the movie industry.
Question, you said what date was that again? March?
May 21st, 1980, today. And May 21st.
No, that's awesome. Because I remember I was really little, but all my little school friends, they were really into Star Wars. And I remember when my best friend was this boy, Tony House, and we loved Star Wars. And so we still had some, my mother still had some like Easter eggs, the foil, the chocolate wrapped ones.
Yes.
So she because my mother used to like to hide stuff from us. So we still had some in May. So she gave me some to take to school one day. I shared them with Tony. And after we ate them, I was getting ready to throw away the wrapper. He said, no, wait, save the wrapper, because we can build an R2-D2 and C-3PO with them. And I said, my friend, you are brilliant. And we stepped out and picked up the wrapper.
Oh. But see, that imagination that children have goes on to create a lot of the tech that we have right now. Let's save that. Let's see what we can do with it. There were no limits when you were a kid.
That's true.
You could see things clearly. You may not have known how you were going to go about making it happen, but you can see this. I can see this happening. Just like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, for that matter, they saw stuff other people didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
And then the government and their, I'm not going to say infinite wisdom, but the government
infinite wisdom.
It's like, come on, people. Did you not watch the commercials? All right. So that's your day in tech history. Terry, what do you got for us over here on in the news? Are you taking us down some more rabbit trails?
No, I am not. Today, I'm talking about the launching of the Mayflower. And let me share this with you. This is the autonomous ship that's going to be going across the Atlantic shortly from Plymouth, England to the United States to Massachusetts. And it's going to take it approximately 12 days. Do you want me to play the video? It's a little long. So let me just tell you about it. It's going to be gathering information about different environmental conditions in the Atlantic, and it is on its way. It was made by IBM, and they are looking forward to this autonomous vehicle making it across the Atlantic. Are you ready for this? In 12 days.
Okay, so this is just me. Why would they name it the Mayflower again?
Because it's the anniversary of the Mayflower. 400, I think it's 400 years since the launching of the original Mayflower. I played a little bit of the video.
This is the moment the Mayflower 400
can you hear
entered the water for the final time.
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn it up.
On its groundbreaking journey across the Atlantic to Massachusetts in the US. But unlike its namesake, which took more than 100 pilgrims to the New World in 1620, Mayflower 400 won't have any people on board at all.
4 or 5 years ago, we were talking with folks in the city about how we were going to commemorate the 400th anniversary. So just an informal discussion at another meeting. And there was some talk about building a replica. And so my perspective was, let's do something that speaks to the next 400 years of the maritime enterprise. And so for me, that means building autonomous vessels to do ocean research.
It's designed and built.
Okay, Gary.
I'm going to stop it just a minute.
It can be piloted remotely.
Okay, so the first time was a rebellion against the king. So, am I right? Isn't that the first Mayflower was like, we're not under?
It was people got on the Mayflower because they were being persecuted for religious reasons, and they came to the U.S. so they could practice their religions. Okay, however, when I saw this, I said, they say this is about research and everybody's going to profit from it because we'll be able to do better things for the environment. But the first thing that came to my mind was, is this a military move? Is this technology are we going to be sending stuff? The other thing I thought about is, how is this going to impact the supply chain? Because, okay, we got this small boat right now, but does this mean that we will be able to ship goods autonomously across the water?
Okay, so it's a drone boat.
Basically.
Okay, got it.
You know what I mean? Because it has all the cameras, all the sensors. It's just like a Tesla.
Okay, it's a drone boat. It's it's an unmanned boat.
Yes, but it is not controlled. They're working so they don't have to control it remotely, so that it can truly be autonomous as it goes across. That it'll be able to read the weather, etc.
See, they still need to have a human somewhere near the control.
In case it goes rogue.
Well, because
I know what you're saying.
I've seen too many movies where the robots and stuff take over when you give them all that power. So
exactly.
They need to still control the boat.
Right
and somebody needs to be able to go, hey, something's happening. We need to shut it down, not just let it go rogue.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that there is a center, a manned center, where it's, what I'm saying, monitored or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Dr. Tati.
All of this is lovely. I do see, I think it's amazing that you would be able to get across the Atlantic in 12 days.
12 days.
As opposed to months and months.
Right.
In some cases, almost a year. Fine. I think that's all well and good. But yet again, the status quo has missed the symbolic mark of what this means. You called it the Mayflower. The landing of the Mayflower on Plymouth Rock in this country is unequivocally one of the worst occurrences when it comes to the history of the indigenous people.
Yes, thank you.
The fact that you had the real live audacity to, now you're making them relive it again.
And you're
Nobody
celebrating the
enforces it.
anniversary with the launch of something
It's
like
on
this.
the anniversary. I don't give a damn. It's not an anniversary for indigenous people. That's not a thing to celebrate. So the fact that you have the real live audacity and absolute gall, not only to celebrate the anniversary of the landing, but to call the craft the same thing, again, I can't help stupidity. It's not even bordering on stupidity. It is stupidity. I'm not going to say it's ignorance or insensitivity. It is insensitivity, but it's also stupidity. The fact that you can't see that you don't have the critical thinking skills that God gave two smashed flies to see that this is problematic, that's a problem. And I think people, and you're wondering why people are tired of you and tired of things, because you keep making these simple mistakes that anybody with a fourth grade education would see. That's not right.
Well, see, this is a lack of diversity in the boardroom. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm tired of people blaming a lack of diversity.
Somebody needs to be there to speak up.
Well, no, and
somebody does need to be there to speak up, but there also needs to be. See, the thing is, they don't think about diversity until it's too late, and then they try to hire
the fact they want
type fixers to come in and do things, and you're usually Olivia Pope type fixers of color. You don't want to think about it. No, do the work and you start thinking about it. Consult with people, definitely. Don't make decisions on your own. But do we always have to tell you, that's not right? How stupid are you? Really, that's stupidity. At this point, this has happened ad nauseum for hundreds of years. It's stupidity at this point, and you're making me think you don't have the critical thinking skills to lead or do anything, let alone make an autonomous ship that will go across the water in 12 days. If you can't think about simple things, how can I trust this?
Right.
All the more reason to be concerned.
Yeah, that wasn't a thought out plan. I was like, I'm thinking, okay, the first people came to get away from King George. So you people are coming to do some other stuff, and that wasn't a good look. But you're going to recreate this. And it's on that side of the pond. And I'm not understanding what were y'all thinking?
They were thinking, how do we get across the ocean in 12 days?
Well, then get across the ocean in 12 days, call it something else.
Call it something else.
As far as the name.
Very simple. Call it something else. I have no problem with the concept. But it makes me question your concept if you can't think about something as simple as a name. This is all over the history books. I'm not buying that you people are British, that you wouldn't know and understand that. To hell. Take the number 6 train to hell. I'm sorry, but I am just tired of this lack of critical thinking skills. The individuals that have lauded themselves as they actually start the first Western universities were started in the UK. How do you not have enough sense to reason that through? And it's such a simple thing. If you can't do the simple, you can't do the complex.
Yeah, and then there's the thought, and there's the decision to let this thing run with nobody at the helm, or even back to control it remotely. There's a problem with that.
Well, during the experiments, I could see the boat alongside of it, following it, but nobody's on the ship.
No, I'm not even talking about being on it. According to that, according to the story, they weren't going to even have anybody remotely, like with joystick or something, controlling the boat. It was just going to go on its own to whatever destination was programmed.
That is the objective. Right now, it is being monitored. Do you want to see the rest of the video?
No.
Okay. Let me move on.
That's just crazy. Go ahead.
Because okay, so let me get to my other story. To my share and see if I can pull up my other story here. Sorry, ladies, I didn't mean to upset you with the story.
No, you didn't upset us, but it was just thoughtlessness that continued.
Yes.
It was just no thought whatsoever. Okay.
Okay, so Snap is back with their lenses. Okay, and they're using it for AR. So now, is this sharing now? Yes, it is. Okay. So let me show you what they are doing with their spectacles.
Let's take a closer look at how they work. Tap on the Temple's touchpad to bring up the lens carousel.
And so it is
There you can launch lenses, including ones creators build themselves.
showing
in
him
Lens
tapping
Studio.
the lens side of the eyeglasses. And then it is putting augmented features in front of your face in the environment wherever you are. So now you have augmented reality again on these lenses.
Use the right button to activate scan. Or you can speak a command. Hey Snapchat, let's play a game. Tapping the vast potential of Snapchat's AR platform. Spectacles understand what's in their field of view and suggest relevant lenses based on what's around you.
So he's having the dog go fetch the bone in augmented reality.
Okay, I guess it's an easier cleanup than having a
Snap
real
the
dog.
scene and send it to
I
friends
guess.
to share the full picture.
But now you can send these augmented things you create to friends. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Snapchat is back with glasses. Remember they had the lenses where you could record 10 seconds, etc. Now these will allow you to do augmented reality, record that and send it to friends. It's only available to creators right now, but I see it being available probably for Christmas. And I'm looking forward to it because I know my grandson just loves this augmented reality stuff. So,
one, it reminds me of the glasses.
These are Snapchat spectacles, by the way.
I understand.
As I didn't tell the audience.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
It reminds me of the glasses that Tony Stark wore in Iron Man, where you can tap and see stuff and whatever.
Jerry says that's too much. She's got too much going on.
If there's a use for some things, and I'm not saying
it's strictly entertainment.
Well,
You know
it needs to be. I think it should be started with entertainment and then really be used for something that can help.
Well, because the battery life is only 30 minutes.
Oh, well, that's not.
I'm thinking it, but most of the times when technology starts out, it's in small increments, and then we find a way to expand it. And I can see it being expanded to the point where you might be able to have meetings, virtual meetings. You can bring your friends into the room with you, sort of like holograms.
Yeah.
Going on with these virtual glasses.
Okay.
It's in a virtual birthday greeting where you're in a hologram saying, hey, how you doing, girl? I'm having a drink on you, whatever. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Right. It's in the entertainment realm for right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So those are my two stories that I wanted to share with you guys. I had to shut it down because we're almost into 30 minutes and you haven't gotten to your stories yet, Fran. So what's up?
I'm filling in for TJ today, and she has some social media news this week. And the first one was Snapchat. Beginning later this year, Snapchat users will have the ability to share clips from YouTube and YouTube Music directly into Snapchat.
Oh, nice.
Right. And then they also announced a new integration with Bumble, which will allow users to send selfies with Snapchat lenses within the dating app.
Interesting. Okay.
I talked to Tati, said, okay. And then Twitter news. Twitter blue check is back. After nearly 4 years, Twitter is finally reopening its public forum to request verification. With the update, users will be able to submit requests for Twitter's coveted blue check mark and confirm their identity within the app. Verification requests will be available in the service's account settings over the next few weeks. The company is starting with specific categories, including journalists, brands, government officials, activists, and other notable figures, including those in the sports and entertainment industries. Following the initial rollout, Twitter will also add categories for religious leaders and academics who wish to become verified.
That's good.
Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
No, this is very interesting. I've always been of the belief that, a blue check was not an end all and be all, because people, obviously, there's some sort of system that is needed to ensure that people that are notable figures, celebrities, politicians, etc., need to know that this is actually them. So that's definitely needed, especially once your account begins to grow.
Right.
But there's also been this quest to be verified by everyone, right?
Right.
By people who feel they're notable, and they may very well be, but maybe not notable to the standards of Twitter or whatever social platform you're aiming for notoriety on. But that became the gold standard of your existence on platforms, and that's my only issue with it, that I understand why it needs to exist, but that then becomes the gold standard to reach for by everyone. So it's interesting that this, I'm interested to see how this plays out and what they do with it in this new iteration of it.
Okay.
Yeah, to see, because before I think it was abused a little bit.
Very much so.
Right. So the next story, Twitter about to launch Twitter Blue, a paid subscription service. According to reports, Twitter is close to launching Twitter Blue, a paid subscription service. According to Jane Manchin Wong, an app researcher, Twitter is close to launching a new paid subscription service called Twitter Blue. The $2.99 per month service will allegedly introduce two premium features, collections and an undo tweet button. That's still not an edit, right? Or is that an edit button? Okay.
No, you just get your tweet back.
Okay. The new collections feature expands on the platform's bookmarks, allowing you to save and organize your favorite tweets and collections. Up until now, you could only save tweets in a chronological list. The undo tweet button that may be rolling out with Twitter Blue is the closest thing to having an edit tweet button, probably the most requested Twitter feature of all time. But undo is expected to be more like the undo send on Gmail, which gives you a few seconds after sending an email to take it back. Okay. So we still don't have an edit button.
No.
Okay. TikTok will allow creators to delete comments and block accounts in bulk up to 100 at a time. The quote from TikTok: to manage interactions on a video, people can long press on a comment or tap the pencil icon in the upper left corner to open a window of options. From there, people can now select up to 100 comments or accounts rather than having to go one by one, making it more seamless to delete or report multiple comments or block users in bulk. Why? This is the latest in TikTok's efforts to combat bullying. Interesting.
Okay.
That's good.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's like being photobombed. I would think, people just attack in droves, and that way it's easier to protect yourself without being laborious about it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that is this week in social media. So Dr. Tachi, do you want to take us into the media portion?
Absolutely. Wow, we're so ahead of schedule.
Yes,
I know. Isn't that a good?
Yes. Or schedule, as my father used to say. So, yeah, there are a lot of things going on, including, I'm sure you all heard about the passing of comedian Paul Mooney, who passed away at the age of 79 at his home in Oakland. Apparently, he had a heart attack. And if you don't know, I'm sure the both of you know Paul Mooney, but for those who don't know Paul Mooney, he has a lot of different credits. So he had regular appearances on The Chappelle Show. He also was the head writer for NBC's The Richard Pryor Show in 1977. And also contributed material to Pryor's Live from the Sunset Strip comedy album from 1982. He also wrote for Sanford and Son, and he was the head writer on the first season of In Living Color. So,
wow.
Yeah, that I did not know.
I didn't either.
I didn't know
So
that.
he has quite an IMDb profile. So rest well to comedian Paul Mooney. Also, let's talk a little bit about film. In the Cannes Film Festival, they are live. Tribeca is not the only festival that's going to be live this summer. Cannes Film Festival and Market is going to be live. It's in July. They've revealed COVID protocols in their updated, quote, stay safe plan. So it's happening July 6th through 15th. So basically the whole first half of July is Cannes Film Festival and Market. They published a stay safe plan, and they do have some COVID protocols. So you're going to have to cover your face. It is mandatory. Don't try and do like they do here. You will be wearing a face covering. They've reformatted the cues, the lines, and also the circulation of the market to ensure social distancing. There's a 24/7 medical concierge service and a COVID-19 screening center to carry out testing. They also add that all decisions regarding access protocols and capacity limitations will be decided nearer the time based on the recommendations from the government and the local authorities, and that is the French government. Now, this comes right in line with the cinemas that have opened in France just this week, in addition to the bars and restaurants for outdoor service with social distancing in place. And there is actually a document that has been issued by the French government for all national trade events in July, and this just actually came out this week. So, if you're going to Cannes, be sure to bring your face covering and that you adhere to all of these things. And you know, I was actually supposed to go to Cannes a few years ago because Filmapalooza, which is something I often participate with, was supposed to be kind of concurrent with Cannes, but I ended up not going. So I hopefully in the future I'll be able to go when there's no imminent threat of COVID-19.
Yes.
So off of film and on to, well, another film. Does everybody remember Milli Vanilli?
Yes.
They are the infamous duo pop icon that rose fast and fell even faster due to a lip syncing scandal in terms of that they weren't really singing all of their songs. But I brought this up on Mediascope. How is this really significantly different from artists using auto-tune today? Sure, it's their voice, but is it really their voice?
Oh, you mean the cleanup?
Say again?
The cleanup? You mean making people sound like, okay, you don't sound like that when I normally hear you sing, but okay.
Right, well, using auto-tune in terms of enhancing your voice. So, you know, these programs that actually enhance your voice and make you sound better, where you sound bomb on your album and your singles and in your music video, for those who still release music videos. But I come to see you in concert and it's like Crack City. Okay. So in terms of voice cracking, I mean.
Yes.
So Milli Vanilli, the story is going to be told in a documentary called, of course, Girl, You Know It's True, from FRC Nonfiction.
Ooh.
Yes. So there is one, as you know, one of the members of Milli Vanilli passed away several years ago from a drug overdose. So there is the one surviving member is Fab Movran. The late member is Rob Pilatus. It is going to be directed by Luke Coram, and he directed Dealt, which is a South by Southwest award-winning film. And it seems like it's going to be interesting. As I said, it's about the rise and faster fall of Milli Vanilli. And if you didn't know, they actually won the Best New Artist Grammy in the 80s, and they sold more than 10 million records before losing all of it. That was a one hell of a wild ride for them, I'm sure. So
Did they take the award away once they found out?
Yes, I believe they did rescind
Really?
the award. Yeah, I think they did because that wasn't them. They had I don't remember who it was, but there were voices that were singing, pretending, and they were pretending to be. It was not their voices. Although from what I understand, at least one of them really could sing. I don't know what the impetus was to do, because somebody besides them knew that this was happening.
Mm-hmm. So, well, somebody's back there in the background pushing buttons. So yeah. Exactly.
So somebody knows, and they just pretended they didn't or turned a blind eye. So I believe they did rescind it. I need to look that. So along with previously unseen footage, this new documentary is also going to include interviews with the musicians who actually sang on the recordings.
Oh.
Yeah. As well as with Morvan, the surviving member of the duo. And the producers are calling this a, quote, cautionary tale that is more relevant now than ever in today's fame-obsessed culture. Yeah, Milli Vanilli just got to it early. So I agree.
See what I mean? Sometimes you're just ahead of the game because we're very creative.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be interesting. I'm not sure when they're working on it now. They don't have a date according to Variety in terms of when it's going to be released, but keep looking. Mm-hmm. It should be released soon. Moving on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Is Amazon at the altar, meaning going to get married to one entity? Let's find out. I'm teasing you a little bit.
Okay.
In case you didn't know, there was a merger between Discovery and Warner Media, AT&T's Warner Media. Did you know that?
I didn't know it was Warner, but I knew Discovery was doing something.
Yes, with Warner Media, which is owned by AT&T. $43 billion merger.
Yes, I read about that. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether or not, if everything has to be okayed by, the FTC and all of that, and the FCC and all of that before it actually goes through. So I'm not sure where they are in the process. But yeah, $43 billion merger. So as that is happening, there are rumors, according to Deadline, that there could be another scooping up of assets happening. Amazon is poised possibly to scoop up MGM in a deal that is reportedly worth under $10 billion.
Wow.
So Amazon may purchase MGM. So much of this is, go ahead.
MGM Studios?
MGM, yeah, the MGM whole.
So they could be in the movie business? Is that what I hear you saying?
But Amazon is already in the movie business.
Already in the movie business. Right, exactly, Francine. And hey, LaShonda, welcome.
Hey, LaShonda.
Already in the movie business. If you look at Amazon Video, Amazon Prime Video, they are already producing a lot of things. They have the Smash It with the Boys. They have
the Amazon originals. Is that what you
Right. Correct.
Those are their movies?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't connected it. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're right. And I think that's part of the thing. People still don't connect Amazon with the industry, and they actually are players in the industry. They've won some awards in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and for Emmy.
Yeah, I love that series.
Yeah, it's a great series. Yeah, that's an Amazon original, but we still think about Amazon as one of the world's largest marketplaces. We still think about them for Amazon. When we say Amazon Prime, we still think of shipping as opposed to Amazon Prime Video. So I think they're also in this move trying to position themselves in a way that they are a major player in the media industry and the media game as well. Part of that is nomenclature, right? Because with Amazon Prime, if they took out the Prime and named it Amazon something else, Amazon Studios, Amazon that they have, I think people would start to associate them more with content creation. But this move probably signifies they're getting deeper into the content game. So again, this is a move. This is a rumor. We're not sure. There are things that are pointing to that this is what's happening. But let's let's look at this. This is not the first time that MGM has looked into exploring a sale. They last year, the Wall Street Journal reported that they had tapped Morgan Stanley and LionTree to explore a sale. Okay, so at the same time, there were rumors that were swirling that Apple was interested in acquiring MGM. Okay,
Wow.
So here again, another tech player looking at getting into the media, which again they have. But MGM had been seeking 10 billion plus, but a lot of people were saying that was too high, and were saying, well, they were going off of a 6 billion valuation for the company. But it looks like this could happen. So what would this mean? What would Amazon get? What would they even get out of this? Yeah, content, but it's the library.
Right.
That people are at, right? It's that
Right.
library. MGM's library has 5,200 titles, 17,000 hours of TV, 177 Oscar wins, 12 Best Picture wins. They have the James Bond franchise, which has grossed over $7 billion in its global lifetime. Let's stop right there. If you threw away everything else, that James Bond franchise is hella valuable.
Right.
As they like to say in California, hella valuable. So also the Rocky and the Creed movies, which together have earned more than $1 billion.
Okay.
The Epix Pay TV network. MGM took full ownership of Epix in 2017.
Oh.
They bought out stakes of Paramount and Lionsgate for that. Also, think about these series: The Handmaid's Tale, Fargo, Survivor. Those are their biggest TV assets. So, yeah, if this happens, if this is truth and not just rumor, that could be major. And you have to think about, we keep hearing this news of these mergers, these acquisitions, and what that means for the media game. So keep watching, because more of this stuff is actually going to happen, in my opinion, than not. So,
Dr. Tachi, so what happens if Amazon buys out all of these bankrupt theaters? Now they own the content, they've got the theater, they can have your kids come to the theater all day for a quarter and sell them candy all day. I mean, this is a big deal. They could do, what was that card that I had, friend, where I could go to the movies all week long?
Movie Pass.
Movie Pass.
They could do their own Movie Pass if they own the theaters, own the content. I just see a full circle coming here.
Absolutely. And I think Movie Pass was a wonderful concept.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, but Movie Pass was a tech company trying to get into the media content game, and they did not understand, in my opinion. And that's part of the problem. When you have sometimes these tech companies that come in and think they can swoop in and do things, do you really understand the content game and the way it works? Or are you willing to do a paradigm shift into a way of content creation and distribution that you would like to provide? And often they're just trying to exist or coexist in an ecosystem that was already built before them that they don't understand.
Right.
So that, to me, those are part of the problem. But you are so right, Terry. I think that they could definitely, there could be some vertical integration there. I think they should definitely do this. And there was already kind of musings and talks of Netflix doing this type of thing, of acquiring some theaters. But here's the thing. I don't think these theaters are going to go quietly. AMC, Cinemark, and what's the other one?
Regal.
Those are the three biggest, right?
Right.
Those are the three biggest movie chains. They're not trying to let go of what they've built. They're not, it doesn't look like they're trying to sell. This is why there's this whole push for things to get back to, quote, normalcy, if there's any such thing as normal, because a lot of parts of this normal I don't like. So
exactly.
Right. It ain't gonna be
for you because it serves you.
Right.
And it's expensive. You know, we've saved so much money during this paradigm shift.
Oh my gosh, we really have. And see, so here is the big thing too. I'll add this. We think there is a deficit because when you look at, AMC talked about the fact, remember that they had 987 million, I believe it was, remember, because they had raised that in funding round or something. And now they're only expecting to come up with 170 something million in their earnings for this coming quarter. Well, we knew that it was because of the pandemic was going to hit things, but why are you not prepared, right? So they're not trying to let go. They're not trying to do anything anytime soon in terms of, but I think you're 100% right. They could do that, and it could be a great thing. Oh, what I was going to say is I think that we're also too tied to record profits the way they were because of greed. You don't have to make as much as you do, not you as an individual, but industries don't have to make as much as they do. They just want record skyrocketing profits. So CEOs, et cetera, can line pockets and they can give these huge bonuses, but you don't have to do all of that. You will still have a yacht regardless if you have this bonus or not. So I think that push is to keep with the record profits. But if you look at it on its surface, X amount of million is still damn good. It's just that you feel that you have to make all of this money and it's not trickling down to the people who actually work in the theaters, right?
Right.
Who actually make the things run. So part of the problem with this whole system is greed. I'm not saying don't try to amass, but should you amass at the expense of everybody else? And now when you don't amass what you did, well, your value was probably overinflated to begin with. I'm just saying.
Well, let me ask you this. What about the possibility of Amazon just skipping the whole buy the theater thing and going straight to drive-ins because we made a paradigm shift?
That's a good question.
With their own content. What do you think? Do you think that's a possibility?
That is a good question.
If they're not willing to negotiate. Yeah.
Well, but there are a lot of logistics involved with that. This is not something that they currently do. They're not an exhibition house. For me, it would have made more sense for the big three to try and explore that because they already are exhibition houses and they understand the whole exhibition business.
Okay.
Amazon is a distributor. They're not an exhibitor. So there's a difference there.
Right.
I think it could work, but I don't know that Amazon is interested in that. They may do one or two. I can see them doing one or two off things. And why? Because they already have a distribution model that goes direct to consumer. And I don't have to go through this whole rigmarole of having people come out. Now, that could work. I think that is an interesting idea. I don't know that Amazon is interested in that. That's my only thing. And look who's here. Is this Natalie Crew Troublemaker? It is.
It is Natalie.
One. It's Natalie. What's up?
Hey, Natalie.
Hey.
So the whole thing is, it's going to go back to what is the behavior of the consumer. Most of them are not. I'm not getting in my car going to no drive-in. I'm sorry. I'm not getting in my car to go to the theater. Not when Amazon can put, original movies on or released from the theater. If they release it via streaming, I will probably do that. And like they did with the HBO Max is releasing movies to theaters, the Wonder Woman and Legends, DC Legends, all of that. I can stay home, pop my own popcorn, and I'm good. I don't have to
make it delicious.
Yeah, with real butter.
And not pay $10 for boxed candies.
There's that, and then there are people who want that, just want to go out.
Yes, but
the drive-ins are economical.
Yes,
and there's a partnership going on now. Remember some of the Walmarts open drive-ins.
Yeah, but I don't know.
They did that together with Tribeca.
Right, but is it still a thing, or did they?
No, that was a limited time.
Was it temporary? Okay.
It was a temporary thing for last summer before last, I think.
Right.
Where they had it was over 4 months, I believe, that they did that.
Right.
And it was with some Walmarts. Now, there could be the possibility of exploring that. But what we need to remember is that the industry is very traditional and they think very traditionally.
Oh, like the government? Okay.
Like the government. They are.
Yep, because it's the same people.
Well, you're right. It's the government with movie stars, basically.
Yeah, it's just, it's just a whole generation that's...
They'll
Yeah,
come back. They'll be back to the theater. I'm looking at crickets at the theater over here by my house.
And
It's
mine is
open,
open.
but it's crickets. There are like no lines, no nothing. Just okay.
And our Regal is shut down. I think it had 19 screens or something. It's shut down. It's closed.
The one by your house?
Yes. The Regal
it's
Theaters.
not sustainable. That is not sustainable now. And honestly, I don't trust the sanctity of the movie theaters because I don't trust that you cleaned where you said you cleaned.
Now when my feet are sticking to the floor.
I don't think them enough to care about. I'm not saying they wouldn't do a good job otherwise, but that's a lot to clean an entire theater thoroughly to make sure it's free of any pathogens and antigens because they didn't do it in the first place. So why now? And now there's starting to be a little bit of lackadaisicalness I've seen in terms of people sanitizing. Like, oh, it's over because we have this panacea called a vaccine. Rubbish. You still need to do. You should have been doing this in the first place. So I don't know. I'm not in a hurry to go back. I think they're fooling themselves if they think they're going to be back to full. But yeah, people want to get out, but people also don't want to die. So I don't think that the will to see a movie is greater than the will to live. That's just me.
And people, I saw an article on BBC that people aren't going back to the office either. In England, they're like, nah. And, we're doing, what do you call it, office sharing on a rotational basis. In other words, we're renting space when we need it, period. We're not even going into, shared spaces on a continuous contract.
Right.
Yes. What else is going on in that industry? I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this is the last story that I have. Netflix, it looks like they're getting into a new game, and it could be a game for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. They have unveiled their first ever luxury fashion line with red carpet ready looks. So yeah, this is really interesting. This is, if you looked at Netflix recently, you probably see in the recommended, or things that are new out, a series called Halston.
Oh, yes.
Yes, about designer Roy Halston Frowick. So they're dipping their toes into the fashion world by collaborating with Halston, the American luxury brand, for a 10-piece capsule collection inspired by the Halston Limited series. So according to Design Taxi and Fast Company, this will feature 10 gowns priced between $995.
Go ahead, Chachi.
Oh, no worries. They feature 10 gowns priced between $995 to $1,595, so $1,600. They're available for pre-order in June.
Oh, that's a sweet spot.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is interesting because after they wrapped filming of the show this year, in February, Netflix and Halston entered into the discussions to create a collection together. And so the fashion house's CEO is Robert Rodriguez, and he worked closely with Netflix to choose which outfits from the show they were going to recreate for consumers. They settled on 10 designs that were popular in the 70s and 80s that would also have current appeal. So Rodriguez says this: it was an opportunity to bring back iconic gowns that Halston himself created, but reinterpret them to make them more modern. So Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus are going to feature the designs in their window displays in August, so you can pick out your favorite.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. They're not getting any of the revenue from the sale of the collection, but Netflix is seeing this as an opportunity for both brands to promote each other. So they're looking at this as marketing partnership. It's an expense that's a good look. And we've seen this before. If you remember when the show Scandal was on,
yes,
did a whole window full of Olivia Pope-esque type clothing, right? So it wasn't a collaboration design-wise, but what they did is they went through different designers and picked out the things that were very close to what Olivia Pope would wear and put them in this. So there's this whole thing about media and fashion that has always been there. Netflix has just taken it to the next level by creating a capsule collection. And those are my media stories for today.
I love that idea. Oh my gosh, I remember that whole Olivia Pope thing. She had that cutest wool trench coat design.
Yes.
They were the bomb. Anyway.
Yeah, her outfits were everything. And people really, good clothing resonates with people. Even people who say they don't really care about fashion. Yeah, in some way you do, because you select clothing that appeals to you. So everybody has an eye for the type of fashion that they like. And fashion is a major industry. So it makes sense that media and fashion would band together. I mean, already there's fashion tech in terms of smart fabrics, etc. But media and fashion is a natural fit. So I think this is a really interesting story. And I wait and look for more collaborations between the series that they produce and.
Oh my gosh. This is also a throwback. There are so many baby boomers from that era, and we got money. It's like, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. And Halston is iconic. I mean,
yes.
The gowns that Halston, I just am in love with Halston's designs from the 70s and 80s. And there have been other collections that they have come up with that were not like gown based, but I'm just in love with what he did in that era, the flowingness, the colors. So I'm excited to see how they reinterpret this collection.
Wow.
Wow.
And Gloria Vanderbilt. Yeah. I'm loving this. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I am going to check this out as soon as we get off of here.
Check it out. In fact,
oh my gosh, these gowns are gorgeous. I'm looking at the trailer right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. So thank you so much, Doc. Wow. You always have such interesting things.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. You are the workingest woman. Now, I know you're working on something right now, and we wish you well in all your endeavors. Guys, we want you to follow Dr. Tachi over there on Mediascope. She's on every Wednesday. And also, just go over there to Clubhouse if you haven't already and follow her. Well, because she's always doing something exciting in the world of media. Thank you again. Fran, we're getting ready to close out. I just want to say to everyone, we want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank you over there in Clubhouse for all of your contributions. And we wish you well. Remember, Monday we'll be talking coffee, tea, thoughts, and conversations with the Biz Chicks. Tuesday we'll be on here talking to Terry Johnson online. We wish her well today in all her endeavors there in New York City. And on Wednesday, we will be talking to Coach Karen all about your money. Thursday, we'll be talking about your health and your wealth with Rama Shimizu, Happy Healthy Habits. And Friday, we'll be back with tech. In the meantime, remember to go to the front of your own line. Have a great day, guys. We love you. Bye-bye.